Tom here to TalkFCB and welcome to full reaction to the Champions League draw that has just taken place for this season's group stage. And I do have to say, there are some absolutely outrageous ties and some fantastic groups as well. There is lots to discuss and lots to analyse from the entirety of the draw, so let's get to it. Come on. Because as we know, in the group stage, there are 32 teams in the draw, 26 of those qualifying automatically with 6 of those coming through qualifiers. There are 15 different countries there represented in the draw, with Sheriff making their debut there in the Champions League group stage. And as you know, prior to the draw, each of the teams there were split between 4 different pots. You can see there that pot 1 is made up of last season's league winners and also the Europa League champions Villarreal. And the rest of the pots there are determined based on each club's coefficient ranking, which measures their success in European competitions in recent years gone by. So as you can see there, the likes of Barca, Real, Juve and PSG all in pot 2, but that also meant that we would not be seeing any Barca-Messi reunion, at least just yet. Because let's kick right off with Group A, and that is one of the groups where it's all happening. Because as you can see, Man City there were the first team drawn in Group A, and they were swiftly joined by one of the most eagerly anticipated matchups. It's Paris Saint-Germain. Man City will play PSG. And not only, of course, have PSG got Messi now, of course, there's plenty of speculation surrounding the future of Mbappe, but you look at Man City, and especially the rumours right now linking them with a sensational move for Cristiano Ronaldo. Could we incredibly see a Messi-Ronaldo face-off? And in a game that we wouldn't have expected a few months ago, RB Leipzig have joined them in Group A. And that's interesting too, because Leipzig will not make it easy for either of those teams there to safely progress to the knockout rounds. And as you can also see, Club Brugge making up the group. It's safe to say that they have serious work to do to even get into the Europa League in that group. But Man City, PSG and Leipzig, there should be fantastic games to come from that section. Then in Group B, Atletico Madrid, of course, the La Liga champions, were the first team drawn into Group B, and very intriguingly indeed, they were joined swiftly after by Liverpool. Absolutely incredible there to see those two come up against each other once again, given the fact that very recently, of course, it was Atletico Madrid that knocked Liverpool out of the Champions League, which right back then almost seemed to knock Liverpool's confidence that sort of carried over into last season. Of course, they've got Van Dijk back now, though, and they'll be looking to top that group if they can. Porto will be joining them, and also, as well, a very warm welcome back to the Champions League for AC Milan. They are the remaining team there in Group B, and that's a really exciting group too. I'm really interested to see how Milan get on again. Of course, such a historic club in this competition. Great to see them back, like I say, and plenty of quality as well in Group B. Then there is Group C, which started out there with Sporting there, the champions of Portugal there. They're the first team drawn in Group C. They were followed then by Borussia Dortmund, of course, who've managed to hold on throughout the summer. Maybe not to Jadon Sancho, but they have managed to keep Erling Haaland for at least one more season. They were also joined there by Ajax, of course, looking to make another incredible run in the Champions League, and also the Turkish side Besiktas make up Group C. Sporting, Dortmund, Ajax and Besiktas. And I'm really excited actually to see how that group goes. Dortmund, of course, will be hoping to make it to the knockout stages, and Ajax as well, always looking out for their results in Europe. Then it was time for Group D, and this was very, very similar to what you would have seen in last year's group stage draw. Because first up, it was Inter, who were drawn there this time as the league champions in Italy, but of course they have lost their top goal scorer from last season. Romelu Lukaku's gone back to Chelsea. Real Madrid joined Inter, very similar to how it was last season, and exactly the same when Shakhtar were drawn. All 3 of those teams were in the same group last season. Real there had it difficult. They were really pushed in last season's group stage, and Sheriff, the debutants in the Champions League, also joining their Real, Inter and Shakhtar in Group D. Before then, we move on to Group E. Because first up, Bayern Munich were drawn there into the group, of course Bundesliga winners, as they so often are, but maybe not as successful in the Champions League as they would have liked last season, but of course Lewandowski's injury coming for them at quite a crucial time. But joining Bayern in Group E, it's Barcelona. We are going to be facing Bayern once again, the team who, of course, not last season, but the season before beat us by, yes, it was 8-2. Yes, that defeat still does hurt all of us Barca fans, but that is a huge, huge matchup there in the group stage. Also joining us in Group E, Benfica, the Portuguese side, and also another repeat of a team we faced in last season's group stage, Dynamo Kiev, the Ukrainian side. They will be joining us and Bayern. And that, for me, is a very, very interesting group for us. Because on the one hand, I welcome a bit of a test. I think Bayern will certainly give us that. They'll really push us. And it'll almost tell us where we're at. You know, how good are we? How much can we actually compete this season coming up against one of the European heavyweights there in Bayern? There's two of the teams there in Benfica and Dynamo that we should come out on top against. We would expect ourselves to progress from this group. But at the same time, we will not have it easy. We will be tested. And of course, if we can get through, it would mean that we couldn't face Bayern in the next round. In Group F, Villarreal, the Europa League champions there, were drawn as the first team in Group F, and it was very, very interesting because joining them was a repeat of that very final, with Manchester United there joining Villarreal, the team, of course, who they lost out to in a dramatic penalty shootout at the end of last season. Villarreal United, Atalanta in that Group 2, joined there as well by Young Boys, so that is an interesting group that certainly Villarreal United will be hoping to progress from, but also Atalanta, you can never ever write them off. A very, very exciting team to watch. Then there's Group G, Lille, Sevilla, RB Salzburg, and also Wolfsburg there in Group G. That is one of the ones where maybe there's not as much going on as in other groups, but at the same time you would expect that to be very, very competitive. Before in Group H, Chelsea, the reigning champions, of course, of the Champions League, beating Man City in that all-Premier League final last season. They'll be coming up against Juventus. That's an interesting game too. Will Ronaldo still be at Juventus by the time that game comes around? Juve really need to get back on a good path this season. They'll also be joined by Zenit, the Russian side, and also the Swedish side, Malmo. That there completes Group H, which completes the Champions League draw. And I think when you are looking at all of the groups, when they're laid out there, you can clearly see there's a lot going on in Group A. That is such an exciting watch, and there's going to be some really thrilling games in the group stage there. You also look, I think, at Group B, plenty of excitement there and real quality in that group. There's plenty of deja vu going around in Group D. Group E is interesting for us in terms of those games against Bayern, and I think Group H as well should be a good matchup there between Juve and the reigning champions Chelsea. But of course, we are going to be wondering, when are these games going to be coming to our screens? Well, the Champions League will return in September. After the international break there, it will be time for Match Day 1, which will be closely followed by Match Day 2 at the end of the month. October then, Match Day 3, Match Day 4 and 5 in November, before then in December. The group stage will be completed. We will then get the round of 16 draw midway through December, and then in February, the knockout stage begins. Round of 16 ties, followed up then by the quarter-final, which is going to be in April, the semi-final too at the end of that month, before in May it is time for the final itself, this time coming live from Russia in St. Petersburg on May the 28th. Which teams, in your opinion, will not only make it out of their groups, but make it all the way to that final in St. Petersburg? Let me know your thoughts on everything that we've seen today from that group stage draw. Who do you think has got a good draw? Who do you think has got a bad draw? And what shocks are you expecting? Do you expect maybe a big team to go out? And if so, who do you feel is going to make that shock exit? Let me know all of your predictions and all of your thoughts, guys, in the comments down below. Of course, I'll be talking plenty more about the Champions League and also giving some predictions as well before it all kicks off. There is much to be excited about, and hopefully our games against Bayern won't be too brutal. I'll see you soon, and I thank you indeed for watching. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.